Hi everyone. Hi, Ese. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining the call. Sorry about the back and forth with trying to join the call. How are you today?
Hello, doing good afternoon. Hi everyone. I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm still having a bit of issues trying to connect. So this is I'm using my workstation right now to connect. But I have my codes and my notebook on my personal laptop, and I'm having issues connecting with my personal laptop. So I'm currently trying to work on migrating what I have on my personal laptop to this PC that's connecting. Yeah, but other than that, I'm doing very well. How are you? We can start with and when we get to the coding bit, I hope to have completed the migration by then, and then we continue. Does that work well?
Oh yes, that's fine. Thank you very much. So you can just proceed with the session.
All right, that's fine. Hello, everyone. So before I proceed, I'd like to know, those of you on the call, your name, your background, some form of introduction. I know we're running a bit, but we've spent a lot of time, trying to connect and all, but it would be good for me to know the people I'm talking with. If it was a face-to-face call, I mean, if it was a face-to-face conversation, it would have been a lot easier. But since we're having this over the call, it would be good to have a sense of what my audience, who my audiences are. So if we could unmute and have just a brief introduction of your name, what you studied, what you're hoping to get out of this short session. I would appreciate. Yeah, thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Temitayo Mujidat. I studied systems engineering in the University of Lagos. I have a background knowledge in software development. So I just felt I would really like to do something different, and also with the application of software. So I found out about data science, and I realized it's very, very related to what I studied in school, which got me really very interested. And also knowing that it would help to, it's a way to, we can always apply it in our everyday, in every aspect of life, got me even more interested. So yeah, I'm happy to have you come up to talk to us about EDA today, and hoping to be even more excited about the course. Thank you.
Thank you, Temitayo. Thank you so much. I hope we're able to meet your expectations. All right, who's next, please?
Hi, say good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Victory.
Yeah, I'm Ogbebor Victory. I have a master's in neuroscience from the University of Ibadan. I got into data science to explore the possibilities of using data to solve health-related problems. And yeah, so basically, like Timtayo said, we're all here to learn more about EDA. And yeah, I hope that the section is going to be nice and fine. Side notes, by the way, I sent you a LinkedIn connection request a couple of months ago. I don't know if you saw that, but yeah, that's it for me.
Okay, I get a lot of requests, Victory. So I will, now that you've mentioned it, I will go back to my request and see if I haven't already connected. I want to believe I have already, but I will just go and double check. Is that okay? Nice to have you here, Victory.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you very much.
So who's going next?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Ozioma Ogwe. Okay, I have a BSc in Industrial Mathematics from the Federal University of Technology, Owerri. Right, and so I actually went for this course because I discovered that it has a lot of application of mathematics. All right, so I can really apply my knowledge of mathematics in this field, and I'm expected to also learn more, all right, about exploration data analysis from this class. Thank you.
You're welcome, Ozioma. It's nice to have you here. Who's going next?
Yeah. Hello. Good afternoon. My name is Ndcharles Nweke. I'm a graduate of agric engineering. I B and agric engineering from University of Nigeria, Nsukka. So I used to be afraid of data like analytics. Whenever I look at Google Analytics dashboard, I'm always afraid. So when I found out of about data science and that it deals more on analytics, I said, okay, let me go through it. I guess it's going to help me deal with the phobia of data.
You're welcome, Charles. I guess the saying, face your fears, this applies to you strongly. So it's good to have you here. Okay, so who is next?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Ayo. I studied accounting in University of Lagos. I'm currently studying business analytics, and I joined this data science course, mainly because I was interested about how you could use data, how you could explore data to just solve different problems and to just answer lots of questions. And I'm looking forward to just learn about your experience and your knowledge on EDA and how you get to apply it in your day-to-day life and your work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayo. Would that be all? I think that's everyone. Has Moses spoken?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Moses.
Yeah, my name is Moses. I studied computer science at the University of Port Harcourt. I actually I'm one person that likes. I like learning. I like the knowledge is one thing I pursue a lot. I want to, first of all, learn something that could solve problems. And I think data science is one of that field that will give me the opportunity in solving problems and then bringing solutions to different questions that people ask, because you know that with data, the world is actually moving to a set where data is like everything now. And then I think this field is one field that will give me the opportunity. So that's why I ventured into data science, to be able to solve problems.
Okay, thank you very much, Moses. I think that captures about everybody. I'm still working on moving my notebook and data from where it is currently to this other machine. So in the meantime, we start with what I have on top of my list, which is introduction of myself, the company I work with, my journey into the industry. Okay, so just a brief, introduction of myself. So my full name is Esemeje, Esemeje Omole. Omole is my surname. I have a degree in computer science and a master's in data science and computational intelligence from Coventry University in the UK. I started out, I studied computer science, so I had a fair amount of computing background. After my BSc, I worked for a travel company for a few years. I worked with the company as their e-business manager. So my roles basically involved ensuring the online visibility of the business. So I was actively working with the web developers, graphic designers, actively involved in content, search engine optimization, Google Analytics, and the likes. And actually, that's how that's how my journey into data actually begun. At that time, it wasn't necessarily data, but it was more of web analytics. So I was always using, I had to use different tools, and one of them was Google Google Analytics, right? For web analytics. So what that basically involves, basically has to do with, analyzing the web activity of your website, in a sense. So it means I'm able to tell the number of visitors to the website, at what time of the day they are visiting the website, the duration of their visit, what is called session, the bounce rate. There's so many other metrics available on Google Analytics that I played around with. And it was really interesting for me because it opened my eyes to see the value analytics brings to any business, right? So if a business, generally, it's not leveraging on the data, whichever form the business works with, whichever form the data appears for the business. If they're not leveraging that, they will be missing out on a lot of opportunities, and especially opportunities to better satisfy their customers. And this is one of the things I learned as a web analyst when I was with a travel company. Google Analytics sort of like helped me to see the value of the kind of data, of what you can do with the data that you have about your customers, because ultimately it's all about customer satisfaction, right? So you want to improve your customer journey, you want to improve your customer satisfaction, you want to ensure that you're actually offering the right service to your customers, right? And Google Analytics was a tool that actually helped me identify all those important points, and it helped in ensuring that in the end we're able to meet desired objective, because these information or insights that we got from the analytics, we're able to make sound business decisions from that, which of course improved business objective as a whole. So after that, I thought to myself, like, you know what, I think it's time for me to advance my education. I felt like I was becoming like stuck in a rut, and then I said, okay, I think I want to go for a master's. And I was contemplating what to study, right? What to major in. And at that time, data science wasn't as popular as it is now. So this was back in 2016. That's over 3-4 years now. This was it wasn't popular. Data science wasn't popular. It wasn't as popular as it is now. So I actually didn't really go for it for its popularity, right? I actually wasn't even going to study data science. I was just, I really just wanted to go for my master's. And I'd even picked another course. And a friend of mine, I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and I was telling him that, you know what, I think I'm going to go for a master's in something around networking in the UK. And he was like, oh, why that? You're already doing something around data with what you do. Why don't you just go for data science? And I just thought to myself, well, that's a great idea. And then I went online and looked it up, and I saw how really interesting it was. Very demanding, but interesting as well. So I signed up for that, and that's how I landed. That's how I would say my course of career sort of like changed. Trajectory changed a bit, and I went for that. I studied it and I graduated, worked for some time in the UK with Jaguar Land Rover, Dyson, yeah, digital bananas, a few companies in the UK, and before coming back. And when I got back, I worked with Octave Analytics as a data scientist before I eventually moved to Terragon. And I've been with Terragon for a little over 2 years now. Terragon is a great company to work with, great work culture. There are lots of problems to solve because we are very client facing. So um, uh, uh, we are a service-based company, right? And the idea is, or what our strong selling point is that we are using data, AI, machine learning, data science as a whole to help businesses, right, connect to their customers. So this is very broad. It means that, putting it in very simple terms, that clients come to us with their business problem and they tell us, okay, you guys have data, you guys have intelligence, help us solve our business problem. And this business problem ranges from the banking sector to FMCGs to SMEs and fintech. So we have a broad, have a broad range of clients with different business problems on our table. So we are always solving problems, right? We have big problems that we are solving, but we have a great team. We have very good team spirit. So if you have a great team, there is literally nothing you cannot overcome. So yeah, that's where I am currently. I currently lead the data science team at Terragon, and the team consists of 2 data scientists. We have machine learning engineers, and we have data analysts. It's a growing team. It's actually one of the newest teams in Terragon. It was barely 2 years that team was formed, but we've grown in skill sets. We've grown in, of course, capacity as well, and we keep growing and we keep improving. So yeah, that's my journey so far to the industry, and more of like an introduction of myself and the company I work with. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take them now before we move on to the next stage, the next part of this conversation. Any questions? In fact, I think I would like to have questions, so I know I'm not speaking to myself.
Hi, Ese.
Hi, Victory.
Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction. I just have one basic question that I think is on everybody's mind, but nobody's saying. Are you guys looking to hire?
At the moment, I'm not sure. I don't think so, but it depends on the role. I think that Terragon is always hiring at one point or the other, but it will depend on the role and the expertise. So I know that at the moment we're looking to hire for a bit more senior roles in engineering, DevOps, and the likes. I think also front end, but I don't have the details, to be honest. But if you're referring to the data part, for now, I don't think so. But we are always open to having prospects in our pipeline so that, whenever we need someone to join the team or a few people to join the team, we can just easily pick them up. So we have like a pipeline, a process to have people on our pipeline. So that means you've sent in your CV, we've looked through it, we've probably even had 1 or 2 calls with you, and we've sort of established some form of familiarity with you, so
Okay.
that when the time is right, we can just quickly bring you on board. So yeah, we have that process always ongoing. Yeah, that's as much as I can say for now.
All right, no problem. Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
All right. Hello.
Hi, Osioma.
Hello, Ese. All right. I want to ask a question. When you talked about your data science team or the team you're leading. You mentioned three like groups of persons. You mentioned the data analyst, you mentioned data science and machine learning. So I wanted to know, is that all that is those three arms, are they all the components of a data science team, or are there more than that? Because I was believing a data science team should be like four. I don't know, I thought there were like four different arms. So I just want to be clear on that aspect, like the different specializations in the full data science team.
Okay, great, very great question, Uzioma. So as a team, right, we work basically as the need arises with the, so we have the tech skills needed to solve our problems, right? And for any time we need any extra skill, a lot of times we self-teach ourselves, if I can put it that way. Now, it doesn't mean that a data science team should be represented by just maybe 3 or 4 roles. It just means that the size of your company, the kind of problem you're solving, the space that you're in will determine the kind of skill set that you'll be needing. So if, for example, you're in a business where you're always interfacing with clients and having to work on dashboards and reporting and all that constantly, then we'll be needing a business intelligence expert, right? But that's not the case for us. For us, reporting and visualization, it's something that it's more of an internal thing, right? And for our clients, they're just interested in outcomes. They're just interested in us meeting the KPIs. Also, because we have another team in the business called customer success, those guys are more client facing, right? They are not in the data science team. It's another team entirely. Now, those guys are more client facing, so they are more involved in data visualization and reporting because they're always reporting to the clients. So I don't know if that answers your questions. There's also data engineering. The data engineering team works very closely with the data team because they do the data engineering basically. And then we also have the DevOps that helps us ensure that we have the right infrastructure, and we also don't overshoot costs with the infrastructure that we use. But they are not exactly under the data team. You get, so the data team, it's on its own. That's the data science team. We have the data scientists, the machine learning engineers, and the data analysts. But then we also have data engineering that sits on its own. So it all depends on your business or the company and how they choose to structure the department. Does that answer your question?
All right, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let me see. I think I should have my notebook transferred now.
Hello? Hello?
Oh, hello, Moses.
Yeah, I want to ask. Your journey, you talked about how you started. I want to ask, what were the difficulties you faced along the way, and for upcoming data scientists like us, what advice would you give to us? Did you get my question? Hello?
Yeah, I did. Sorry, I was trying to do something else, but I totally got your question. I'm trying to open the notebook.
Okay.
I got your question. It's a very, very, very valid question. Now, when I went in for my master's program, I had a lot to catch up with. Now, prior to then, I had not done any major coding in a few years because my work did not exactly involve me heavily coding, doing any heavy lifting when it comes to writing codes. So when I moved to the UK for my master's, it was a big hurdle for me to, there was a big hurdle for me to cross because when you're studying your masters in the UK, especially when you're doing something technically related, there is a certain level of expertise that that's expected of you, especially when it comes to programming. Now you're doing your masters, right? So no one's going to teach you any fundamental anything fundamental about coding, right? They expect that you've already mastered it to some degree, and that wasn't the case for me. So there was a lot of learning that I needed to be involved in, and I struggled a bit. I'm going to be very honest. I struggled a bit. In fact, I spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time studying. Right. I didn't even have time. I didn't have time to. I didn't have time to play or to have fun or to party. Yes. But in the end, I came out with good grades, right? And another challenge I faced was that trying to land that first job, proved difficult because sometimes the businesses at that time, and in fact even till now, a lot of businesses are not really looking for entry roles, if I'm going to be honest, because they have business problems that they want to solve, and they want data scientists to come and do their magic. So they're not looking for someone who is coming to learn on the job, or someone is, no, they want you to come and hit the ground running. So it was a major challenge for me at that time, and I still think that's one of the major challenges a lot of people face. And it's also a problem for the businesses, because businesses too now face that problem where they're looking for experts to come and solve their problem, but it's scarce. That's why people keep saying there's scarcity of data scientists, because there are companies that want data scientists, but they want people who are on a higher level. But right now we don't have people who are at that stage yet. And people don't just leap to get to that stage, right? They will need to do the experience before they can get to that stage. So we're going to talk more about this at the later stage, where we're going to talk about how to get hired, what businesses and what companies are looking out for. I'll talk more about that when we get to that point. But yeah, these are like the major challenges I faced when I started on this path.
Okay, thank you very much, because thank God you talked about the programming aspect, the coding aspect, because I've been having the same difficulty. I listened to Charles talk about how he ran away from this. I used to have problem with coding too. But that was why I didn't do Java or any aspect of coding. I said, no, I don't want anything coding. So I didn't know data science, and then I've been struggling too. So with this now, at least I know that I'm the right path. I'm on the right path then. Thank you very much for this.
You're welcome. So can I just have just 1 minute so I can quickly share my screen as we move to the next stage? Okay, sorry guys, I'm trying to migrate my notebook. I'm still having issues with that. Just give me like 1 minute. Thank you. Okay, my apologies for the delay. I think everything is it's ready now. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me? And can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, can you see my screen, please?
Yes.
Okay. Because we are pressed for time, I'm going to run this as quickly as possible, ensuring that every fundamental area is covered. So I tried as much as possible to not go too in depth with you guys because I know you're beginners, but just to show you the little things that we do, but important, little but important. It might seem little, but they are very important activities that you need to carry out to make sense of your data. So this is mainly on exploratory data analysis. Now, this is by no means an exhaustive data exploratory analysis, but this is a good place to start, right? And once you know this, you would, I think you'll be properly armed. You'll be armed with the mindset to solve problems with data. And I think that's one of the most important things to have, that right mindset to solving problem using data. Okay, so without much ado, we're looking at exploratory data analysis using Python. Now, what is exploratory data analysis? When we talk about exploratory, it means you want to find out, right? I'm just going to speak through this. You don't need to read all this text, right? Exploratory, when you hear the word explore, it means you want to delve into something, you want to find out new things, you don't even know what you are going to find, right? But you know that you are going in search of hidden treasures, if I can use that. So with that understanding of exploration, you will see exploratory data analysis as a way to look more in depth into your data by analyzing it. And you start to ask questions around, what your data is offering. So you want to ask questions around how are you sure you're going to end up using the right machine learning algorithms? You want to ask questions around, you want to answer questions around what are the variables or the features that I have in on my data set. So a data set lands on your table, bam. What do you do next? Exploratory data analysis cannot be overemphasized, right? Because this is the first step you take when you have data. It doesn't matter the size of the data. It doesn't matter the value of the data, whatever it is, as long as you have data, the first thing you're going to do is to explore the data. Now, there's so many ways you can explore data. And like I said, this is by no means exhaustive. Now, you don't want to skip the data exploratory phase because it's a bad idea completely. So sometimes some people are in a hurry to, quickly get into machine learning. I want to start building models. I want to, start experimenting and all that. Yeah, that's good, but you cannot build models on something that you don't even know what it's about. You don't have an understanding of what it is. And that's what exploratory data analysis does for you. It helps you understand what your data is. Helps you understand the size, the features. I think when we proceed, you understand what I'm saying. As we get deeper, you get to have a feel of the data. What data exploratory does for you is you actually now, in a sense, start to form a relationship with the data. And this is very important. This is very important because as a data expert, it could be an analyst, you could be an analyst or a data scientist or a machine learning engineer. You want to be in tune with your data because you're a data expert, right? So you want to understand your data. You want to know your data. You want to be able to have that kind of, if I can use the relationship with your data, because it's only then that you can actually now begin to get insights from it, right? And the only way you can do that is, of course, through exploration. Now, there are many things that there are different steps in this. There's importing the data, describing what the data looks like, indexing the data, identifying features of interest and the likes. So today we are going to look at a few of these, of the ways we can reach these goals. First of all, there are things called libraries, right? With Python. So we're using Python, and Python is an interesting language. I don't know what level you guys are with this. I think I should ask you guys, I don't know if you've written codes with Python before. Can somebody confirm if they've done any of this at all? Have you had to import libraries and all that?
Yes, we have.
Okay, great. Oh, fantastic, fantastic. It makes my work a lot easier. So I'm sure everything I'm going to be saying, you guys are going to be like, we know all of this. So what I'm going to use here is I'm using actual data from my company. And why I chose to do this is because I know you guys are, have been undergoing training. And when you undergo training, you're using open data sources, right? Open data sets. Maybe you're using the Iris flower, or I think it's called Iris flower data set, or you're using housing, or you're using different kinds of data sets, right? You don't have that exposure to real life data set and what it looks like. So what I want to do here is that I've brought data from my company. I've tried to keep it as anonymized as possible for data privacy reasons. And of course, I will also show you how you can actually do that as we proceed. So because I moved this notebook from my personal laptop to this laptop, I haven't run it on this laptop. So I hope that there won't be errors but I've completely ran the codes on my own laptop and I didn't have errors. Well, I'm just a bit concerned that I'm hopeful that I won't have any errors on this machine. In the meantime, yeah, so let's start. I run this one. Yeah, okay, good stuff. So now I have my file, so I call it train. My data set, I have it on my machine already. Please run. Good. So yeah. Okay, so to start exploring your data, of course, you need to actually load your data. And the good thing about the Pandas library is that it's very easy to use. So you import all the packages that you want to use as PDs, which I'm very sure you're familiar with. So you import Pandas, you import NumPy, you import Matplotlib, and every other library that you feel like you need to use. And you don't necessarily have to import everything at that first line of code. Sometimes while you're coding, you might just think, oh, okay, I need this library, right? You can import it right there and use it. Okay, so now that we've imported our data, now what we are going to do is look at a description of the data. Now, this is basically, data exploration. Now I have my data. I want to explore it, right? I want to see what it's about. Now I use the .describe and I run this. So this is what it's showing me. It's telling me now that I have a count of 40,000 rows, right? The primary key here is the MSISN. So when you see MSISN, tap ID, spend total, spend vars, blah, 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 that's what they call what's it called? What's this row called?
The attribute.
Yeah, that's the attributes. And these are the headers, right? These are the attributes of this. And the count means that there are 40,000 rows. This unique here tells me that what? Any idea?
That's the number of unique values under each attribute.
Exactly. So it means that there are 40,000 rows and each of that 40,000 row is unique. So you don't have anyone repeating itself, right? So if you come down here, you see these 4 rows, 57 columns is a summary of what you have in this output. So it means I have 57 columns. That 57 columns means I have 57 data points or features, whatever we choose. Now that we have a general idea about what our data set looks like, it would be good to have a closer look, right? To see the values. Now we have functions in pandas called the head and tail. They help us. They show us what's at the top and at the bottom of your data set. Now this is important because why do we do this? This is important because you want to have a sense of, to be sure that in a way the top of your data and the bottom of your data is the same thing, and to see if there are any disparities, right? And this is what this line of code does for you. Okay, run. Yeah, so it shows us the top 5 rows, and you can see that there are 57 columns, right? The column names or the data points, vast span, vast data. Okay, let me give you a brief synopsis about what this data is. Now, this is what we do in Terragon is that we have multiple sources of data, right, that we aggregate together. And one of our major partnership is what we have with the telcos. It helps us have telco data, although everything is anonymized, so there's no way that you can see your name, your phone number here as it's clearly as it is, because this is exactly how our data is. So we respect data privacy. That's why the MSISDNs, which stands for phone numbers, right? They are all encrypted. So there's no way I can even pick out any number here and say I want to use it for any scrupulous purpose. So you have that. For the tail shows you the last 5 rows of your table, and that's what we have here. Now, when we look at the .shape command, what this does for us is that it gives us a list of, oh, sorry, I ran the wrong line of code. Okay, yeah, we have that already. So it has shown us that the output is that we have 40,000 columns, 40,000 rows and 57 columns. Are we together? Can you?
Yeah, we're following.
Okay. All right. Now we are getting deeper and deeper into our exploration, right? Now we want to examine the columns in this data set. So look at all the columns that we have. We're looking at them. Okay, so we have spend total, spend vast, Now there's something that's very important in data science, and it's as a data scientist, one skill that is very important, and if I dare say that it's more important than even writing codes, is having business understanding. And it's something that is actually even rare to find among data scientists. What does business understanding mean? Now, if you look at this description that we have of our data set, you can see so many things, right? Customer value, customer class, religion, inbound daily count, just so many data points. But if I know that you haven't seen this before, and I bet that you don't fully understand what this is. Now, if you lack understanding of your data, you won't be able to offer value. You won't be able to actually even draw value from the data. This is where business understanding comes in. Now, if I give you this data like this, to be honest, there's very little that you can do with it. Even after carrying out your exploration, right? Sometimes you won't even know the right questions to ask. But when you have a very sound understanding of what the expectation of your client is, and you look at the data, at that point you can begin to say, oh, okay, with this data that I have, this is what I can do, or this is how I can meet my customers or my clients' objective. So it's very important to actually spend time understanding the data, understanding the problem you are trying to solve. So you won't just say, oh, okay, oh, somebody comes to meet you or whatever the case, you just jump, let me start building models, oh, logistic regression, oh, clustering, oh, decision trees. No, 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 no. Because until you actually even understand what the problem is, you won't even know what technique to even apply, right? So this exploration is very important, and business understanding is super, super important. Now, this data is data, it's sort of like telco data about customers, right? And it's a combination of so many data points that we've gotten from telco, we've gotten from online interaction, and we've also gotten from how these customers have engaged with our clients in previous times. If you look at the last part here, which is called GTB converted, it's clear that this is a GT. This is from one of our clients called GT Bank. Now, I was going to mask this, but I just thought that, you know what, I'm going to show you how this is going to be masked, right? So this is that. So you see all the columns that are present in this data set. Now, as a data scientist or a data expert, whichever case, you have to understand the importance of data privacy. So if you're a business or you're a company, you have data. Data is an asset, right? And you want to protect it. You want to protect the asset that you have. That's one. Secondly, you want your customers to trust you and know that their data that sits with you is safe. 3, you don't want customers to feel violated or feel exposed, right? Because their data sits with you. So it's very important that when you have any data set, you go through it, you look at it and you think, as a data expert, one of the first things that should come to your mind is that, how can I protect this data? How can I protect the owners or the users of this data, right? Now, in doing that, one of the things I will do, now depending on the hierarchy and the level of the people who are going to be interacting with this data, I will change some of the column names to help me better mask, the information. For example, MSISN refers to the customer's phone numbers. But like we can see already, the MSISN is encrypted, so I don't need to do anything there. But this last column says GTB converted. I mean, you might not have context to it, but I think I would like to mask that. So this is what I do. I come to this next column. I want to change the name of the column for privacy reasons. And then I run this script. Basically, what it's saying is this column that is called GTB converted, right? This one, please change it to target, right? And make it permanent. Now that I've done that, I run the script and it has done that. Now, I want to be able to visualize what I've done and to ensure that it's correct, right? I run this line of code. So I print the list of columns. And if you look at it, you can see that it has been changed to target. Are we there?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, the next step is I want to examine the features of the data set to answer questions like, are there values for all the features? Which of the features have incomplete values, right? This is very important because when you're building your models, right, you want to be sure that your data points are complete. And you want to know, even if they are not complete, you have to, what measures are you going to put in place to make room for lost values, to make room for non-values, right? But if you don't know the values that are missing, if you don't know the columns that don't have these values, you won't be able to properly handle it. So that's where the train.count comes in. Now, this is train._pd. So what I've done is that I've transferred this, I've translated this to a data frame, which I'm very sure you guys are familiar with already. Now, what a count does now is that it gives me a count of every column that's there. So we have what, 57 columns, right? And we have 40,000 rows. So I want to believe that my assumption is that every column should be filled up, right? So that means I should have, for every of this column, I should have 40,000. That's an assumption. Now, exploring this data now makes me see how wrong that assumption is. Because while MSISDN is 40,000, TAP ID is only 9,000. Roam revenue is only 125. In fact, we can see that from phone status to lookalike down to product lookalike is 0. So I've just proved that that assumption is wrong. And that's why this is very important. Now, if we move to the next, one. Now, what I need to do is, if we look at how some of them are empty, if a column is empty, I don't think that column is useful anymore. Or what do you think?
Yes, you're right.
It's not useful again, no.
Exactly, it's not useful. And what will happen is that you now have a data set that is unnecessarily clogged up, and it can be confusing, and it's taking up unnecessary space and memory. So what next thing to do is to drop it, right? So we come down here, start this to the next stage. So it's obvious that some columns, have empty strings. So that means they're not exactly useful. So we need to drop them. Now we apply the drop function. Pandas has a drop function. You list the columns that you need to drop, which I've done here, right? And then I run this. Now, after running this, I run the script again to ensure that those numbers have been dropped, and you can see that they are all dropped, right? Those ones that have those with lots of zeros, they are not there. I think occupation has zeros, so I think I'm going to add occupation to it. Just add occupation here. Okay, what else should I add? Email, BVN, they're quite little, right? So I can add them, right? Are you guys with me?
Yes, we are with you.
Okay. So I'll add the BVN. I mean, if out of 40,000, only 12 rows are occupied, I don't think that's useful. Okay, so I'll just run this. Okay, now I run this. Yeah, so they're out. So now we have 42. Now we have 42 columns. We've reduced the number of columns from what, 57 to 42, right? So this is all part of data exploration. Now, there's something I was going to actually talk about earlier, but now it's a good place to talk about it. And the next thing we are going to look at is measuring central tendency. What do we understand by central tendency? Anybody has an idea? Have you heard of the word central tendency before? What comes to mind when you hear it? I'm waiting.
That's mean, mode, median.
Okay, mean, mode, median, all right. where does that where does that belong? It belongs to the class of statistics, right?
Yeah,
Now,
we'll call it the 5-number summary.
good. It seems we have a statistician in the house. Now, what is statistics and how does statistics apply? I mean, how is statistics applicable to data science? Statistics is actually a very important skill to have as a data scientist. In fact, I would actually, right now, if there is any specific skill I would like to add to my team, it would be to have a statistician, because there's this level of expertise that they bring to the table. You want to be able to, because one of the things that we do as a data scientist is make assumptions and try to validate those assumptions, right? And you do that through statistics. When you're building your models, your machine learning models, you're actually applying statistical inferences to that. Because you are going to be scoring your models based on probability. So a lot of probability comes in to play as a data scientist and a machine learning engineer. Now, this means that because what you are designing and the problem you're trying to solve is not cast in stone, right? It's not final. It's not a final solution. There has to be some form of testing. So let me give a typical example. If a client comes to us and says, I want to open new accounts. I want my, now this client is a bank, right? And the bank comes to us and say, I want to acquire new customers. Now, and they come to meet us and say, okay, I need you to help us with this, to solve this problem of acquiring new customers. And I don't just want any kind of customer. I want quality customers. I want customers that will come and not just open an account, they will actually fund the account to the tune of 50,000 naira, 100,000 naira, to the tune of millions and billions and the likes, right? Now that's a hard problem to solve, if I'm going to be honest with you, because how do you know who is a quality customer? It's not written on their forehead. If you even look at this, this is the data that we work with. Now, you've been given this data and it says, you know what, do your magic as a machine learning engineer or a data scientist and give me customers, high quality customers, high network individuals. These are the people, and get them to open an account with my bank. That's a tough problem, right? Or do you guys have a way to solve it? I'll be happy to take classes. So
It seems like a tough one.
yeah, I think that's a tough problem, and these are the kind of problems we solve in Terragon. So bank comes to you and say, you know what, I need customers, but I don't need anyhow customers. Don't give me customers that will come and put 1,000 naira in my account. I want customers that will put hundreds of thousands and above. And I look at my data set and I'm thinking, what do I do? What magic do I run? Now, that's where the skill and expertise of a machine learning engineer and a data scientist comes to play. And while we are trying to solve this problem, the role of statistics also comes to play here. How does this happen? Now, after you've built your model will give you it's sort of like a predictive system, right? Or a recommender system. A recommender system in the sense that the model will now give me a list of MSISDNs and tell me that, okay, because I've modeled all your MSISDNs and I've come up with 50,000 people, right? Or 50,000 MSISDNs that would give our clients the kind of output that they want, the kind of customers that they want. This is where statistics and probability comes in. Because the next question is, what is the degree of certainty that this thing is going to work? What is the probability that it's going to work? As a data scientist and as a machine learning engineer, you want to be able to say that this is going to work by 0.1%, or it's going to work by 40%, it's going to work by 60%, right? There needs to be some form of probability score assigned to every profile, and you say, okay, Charles has a 0.7 degree or 0.7 probability score. That means Charles has a 70% chance to convert or to be the kind of customer that you want. So there's a very strong relationship between statistics and the work that data scientists and machine learning engineers do on a day-to-day basis. That's why the role of statistics cannot even be overemphasized. Even I personally, I'm currently taking a course online now, even on inferential statistics, to tell you how important it is. Now, this will lead me to the next part I'm going to talk about. We're going to do a little bit of statistics on our data. We're almost through. We're going to do a little bit of statistics on our data, and it's going to give you a sense of the values that's present in the data. Now, yeah, so we're going to use the measures of central tendency. You want to be able to look at your data and have a sense of what the average is, right? You want to look at your data and say, okay, those people that have a spend value of this amount is a total of this amount, or it's an average of this. You want to just look at it at a glance, and that's what measures of central tendency does for you. That it gives you, some people call it summary statistics. It gives you a face value or a summarized value of what your data is. And once you have that information, it helps you know what steps to take next. Now, that being said, this is the yeah, so what I had to do here was that I have to put in a data frame, right? And that's what I've done here with this line 85. I put this my train data into a data frame, and I run it. Now, after running it, now there's something that's very important that I did here. Sometimes, in fact, a lot of times, right, the data that you collect through a data frame, they're usually in objects, in the form of an object data type, right? I don't know if we are familiar with data types. Are we familiar with data types?
Yes.
Okay, so we have objects, we have floats, we have integer, right? What else do we have?
Strings, dictionaries, and all.
Exactly. So we have strings, we have dictionaries. So now, a lot of times, these are usually in data type of an object. But the problem here is that you cannot carry out any numerical activity or actions on a data type that is object. It has to be in a string data type or integer. So it has to be in integer or even float, right? Because those are numeric. So you can't carry out any form of calculation on data that is not numeric. And that was the problem I faced here. So I had to look through my data and look at which of the columns have an object type of data. And I looked at it, and they literally all have you literally have their data type as objects, as you can see. Now, this makes it difficult to actually do anything. So what I have to do is actually change them from object type to a numeric. And that's what I did with this line of code. Now, so that I don't waste our time, I just picked two, which is spend total and spend data, and I changed them to numeric, which is what I have on this line of code. So I run this. So what this does now, it has changed it has changed spend total from object, that's changed it to numeric. If I run line 119, you can see that here. Now, so I can cross-check what I have done. I run this line of code. Oh dear. Okay, yes. Where am I? Okay. Okay, so I now do a mean, right? Now I do a mean. This is the function to check the mean of your data. Now, this is the spend total. You can see here that spend total, if you come to this place, you see that spend total has been changed to float, right? While the others remain as object, spend total is now a float, spend data is now a float. Now, of course, what I'm going to do, what the ideal thing I'm to do is actually change every other column, every other data point to a float as well. But because this is a training class, I'm not going to do all of that. What I just did, I just picked two to show you how it's done, right? Now, once you've successfully done that, you can now easily compute your mean, your mode, and your median. So I've computed my mean now. I computed the mean for, now normally, once you've changed everything to float, you can just do the train.mean function, and it calculates the mean for every column. Why is this important? When you see the mean for every column, you have a sense of the average value of those columns. Now, when I do a mean of the spend total, I have 40,000, I have the spend total of 40,000 people. I want to have an average of how much these people spend on on a telco, on, let me say, MTN, for example. But I can't be looking at everybody's on like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 40,000. So I just do an average, and an average shows me the average total spend, right, is 1,928. And this is a good information to have, because now as a data expert, you can easily communicate this information to the business and say, out of these 40,000 profiles, the average spend total of these people is 1,928. It gives you a sense of what's expected. Now, if we move on to the median, what's median? Any idea?
That's the middle number.
Exactly. So we have 40,000 numbers, and what number is in the middle? We run this code to find that out. Yes. So 807 for spend total, and then for the spend data is actually 0. So that means at the middle of did we do the mean for spend? We haven't done the mean for spend data, have we? I can't see spend data again here. Why is that? Spend data, it's a float already, so why can't I see the mean? Let me run this again. Okay, still running. Okay, so while it's running, I'll just continue. We now have, for median, we can see that median is the number in the middle. And by halfway through 40,000, okay, yes. Okay, good. So spend total tells us that the average total spend of customers, of these 40,000 customers on telco, on their network, it could be MTN or Glo, is 1,928. Now, the average amount they spend on data is 172 naira. This is an interesting information, because in a just seeing these numbers, you already have an idea of these 40,000 profiles, and you now start to ask yourself, are these guys the kind of people that I want to help? I want to acquire as customers for my clients. Because if my client is looking for customers that will be putting hundreds of thousands in their account, I'm now asking myself, am I seeing the right features on this data that can prove to me that these guys are the people that I need? These are the kind of questions that you ask, and that's what data exploration helps you answer those questions, especially as it pertains and applies to the problem you are trying to solve. Now we go to the next one, which is the median. So we've done that. For the median, even for spend total, that means the middle value for median is actually, for spend data is actually 0. Now, if we move to mode, mode is what? Who can share with us what mode is?
The most common value.
Exactly, the most common value. And this is a very interesting one as well. If I run this line, which I have done already, we can see that. Now, the interesting thing about mode is that you don't need to, because it picks the most common value, you don't need it to be in a numeric format. Your data doesn't need to be in a numeric format before it can, before it can work. So that's why we can see here that it has given us values for almost all the, it has given us values for the entire MSISDNs. Now, if we look at this is the MSISDN, this is the spend total, and this is the spend total, this is spend VAS, and this is spend voice, and it goes down, down, down like that. We can go on and on. Now, when the mean for this data is 1,928, the mode is 807. I mean, the median is 807. The mode is actually what? 1,179. So that means that we have more people who are spending this much amount on data, as their complete data spend total. And it's interesting because you have to, it tells you how people are spending on telco, and it helps you now start to think, if these people can spend this amount of money on telco, do you think that do you think that I can classify them as high network individual to meet the business need of my clients? So when you start making assumptions and asking the right questions, you now start to clear out those assumptions, and this data exploration helps you understand those questions. And that's how statistics also comes to play here, because you can actually apply statistics to have a summarized view. It helps you have a summarized view of the data that you have. And you can quickly make decisions on the fly, right? You save yourself a lot of time, you save yourself resources, you save yourself even cost, because you already know what by the exploration you've done, you already have a sense of what the data is about, and you know the next corresponding step to take. So for example, now that I know that this data set has the mean or the average spend total of this data set is 1,928. And then the next step I'm going to ask, and I start to ask myself corresponding questions like, okay, what I want to classify them, what's the relationship between multiple columns? What's the relationship between, is there a relationship between people who have a total spend of a certain value and any of the columns as well? is there a relationship between people who spend this amount and their location? Is there a relationship between how people spend money on data and where they live or where they stay? You know, these are questions that you start to ask, and you can answer them even through exploratory data analysis. And with that, I've come to the end of my presentation. I'm very open to taking questions. Like I said, this is not exhaustive. This is just foundational and give you a sense of what you can do with data exploration. And I wish you all the best going forward. I'm open to taking questions, even aside this environment. You know, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'm open to taking your questions and, you know, helping you learn more as I also learn, because I'm still on the journey. So yeah, that's it from me for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate. I have a question, and it's not very real. It's not just about EDA though. It's about just your company, the Terragon Group. So
Okay.
yeah, you said you joined 2 years ago, about then, and then the group you are heading now started about that time, so 3 years ago. So my question is, how has then, in that case, how has the company been running operations? Because I know Terragon, I assume Terragon Groups is over 3 years. So, and I still believe it's still the same solution they give to companies, like satisfying their customers in every way they can. So I'm just wondering, how have they been working and what have they been using? If they've not really been using data science tools, like if they've not really had a team of data science, how have they been operating? If
All
that's
right.
not so, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. So in fact, Terragon is 10 years already as a business. And Terragon has experienced so many transitions. So it transitioned from being a digital agency to being an aggregating company, you know, and now we have transitioned even to being a data company. So Terragon did not exactly start out being a data company, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they had that foresight, and they had been planning to migrate to being a data company for 4 or 5 years, you know, even before we moved, or before we transitioned. Yeah, so the transition majorly started happening about 3-4 years ago. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. I was thinking maybe there's something else, another department that sorts this data thing out. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I don't know if there's any other question. If not, I'll move to the last phase of this session that talks about insights on what employers are looking out for, how to build a career portfolio, how to find opportunities. Is that okay? Or does anyone have questions from
So I have
this?
a question. Good
All
evening.
right. Please go on.
Please, can you just go up a little bit to the trained or describe, where you use trained or describe? It's up. Not so up though.
Okay. Yeah. This is it,
Yes.
right?
Sorry, yes. I thought the trained or describe was to give you the 5-number summary. So is there the 5-number summary? That's the statistical 5-number, the media modesty, and the first
Oh,
quarter.
yes. It does happen sometimes, but it depends on the data type.
Okay.
It's the object that will sort of like inform the output. So because this particular data, is in an object, I don't know if you heard when I talked about it. So
Yeah,
it's not going to give you the numerical computation that a trained or described should give you, because it's not in a numerical data type. This data type is an object data type. So that's why when we do a trained or described, it's not giving us the computed values, because it's a data. This is data type object. You get what I mean?
yes.
So if for that to work, we need to change this data type from object to numerical. So either integer or float. So if this data type was an integer, definitely a trained or described would have given us the statistical computation. Does that work?
Yes, yes. Sorry, second question is, if we assume, or for example, the data set is in numeric, like you said, data type
Yeah.
is in numeric, would there still be need for what you did down there, like the train.me, new train.me and the rest of it?
No, no, no. So there won't be, except you are looking out for something specifically. So for example, maybe you want to do the mean for every column, right? So train.describe will give you an aggregate of the, it will compute the mean of all the values that are present there. But when you do a dot mean, it will give you the mean for every column.
Okay.
Because it will be specifically, you can tailor it to specific columns. That's the difference.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other question? I don't think, did Humphrey, were you with us at the beginning?
Very, very beginning, no.
Ah, okay. It's a very, very beginning. Okay, so in the absence of any other question, I will just quickly move to the last phase, and we'll be done. So I don't have to take up too much of your time. What are employers looking out for a data scientist or a data analyst, data machine learning engineer, data engineer? You know, in my opinion, because I also recruit for my team. In my opinion, what employers are looking for are people who, first of all, have understood how the work that they do impacts the business. This is very important because employers would not know, they don't know your machine learning algorithms, right? They don't know how to do trained or describe, and they can't be bothered about that. What they want to know is what value you are bringing to the table. So when you have an understanding of the work that you do and how it ties to business, I think you have become very invaluable as a data expert, whichever path you choose, either it's an analyst or a scientist, you know, or engineer, whatever path. Once you can tie what you do to business, it helps. That's one. Second is your thinking skills. Employers want people that can solve problems, right? They want people that, because when you're coming to a business or you're coming to a company, you're not just coming to come and earn salary, right? You need to come and solve problems. They need to pay you for solving. They need to pay you to solve their problems. So they need someone that can think on their feet, because I must confess, there are times that you apply a technique and it doesn't work. What do? You don't pack up and go home. You have to think deeply about a different way or a different approach to solving a problem. So your thinking skills is very important. Another thing that employers look out for is your experience. So with your previous companies, how have you been able to add value? Now, some of you will be like, oh, okay, but I don't have any experience. I don't have, I'm new on this. But there are things that you can show how, there are things that can show your skill level, which is your portfolio. You can start to build a portfolio, right? That portfolio would show how much value that you have added to wherever you've been before or whatever work that you've done. Say, for example, you even take a Kegel or Kaggle competition, and you take something from there, you work on it, and you get good scores or whatever. You can add that to your portfolio. And what's very important is to demonstrate the value of the project that you did. If you did something on healthcare, for example, it will be good for you to demonstrate the value of what that project, what value that project is bringing. How is it solving a problem? What did you do? Because it's not enough for you to build your models and you score accuracy of what, 80%, 90%, 100%. Translate that to real life problems, to solving real life problems, because ultimately the skill that we are building is to be able to solve real life problems, right? So you need to be able to translate that to real life problems and show that even in your portfolio. Your portfolio should demonstrate all of that. Which brings me to building a career portfolio. What should your career portfolio contain? Your career portfolio should demonstrate. I'm not going to, I can't tell you, oh, this should be inside, don't put this one, oh, put that one. But I can tell you that your career portfolio should demonstrate your skill set, should also demonstrate how you add value. It should demonstrate your business acumen. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be with a big company. You could actually start, where you are currently. Even if you're working now and you're not working, I mean, it's not a big company, or you're not doing one major data role, right? But you can walk around with the little data that you have, or you have access to. Right? You have access to whatever little data you have access to. You can play with it and try to create value out of it. That's part of your portfolio. That's how you build, that's actually how you build a portfolio. So you don't have to wait until everything is perfect, To be honest, I built my portfolio with my work experience with the travel company. When I was a travel company, I wasn't there as a data scientist, per se, but I added value, right? And I was also able to quantify the value that I've added, which is also very important. I was using Google Analytics, yes. I was using Excel, although not really advanced, in a small way, yes. But on my portfolio, right, I didn't say, oh, I use Google Analytics and I ended it there. No, I was saying I was able to reduce bounce rates from 50% to 20%. Now, any business-minded person will see that and say, oh, okay, even if I don't know what Google Analytics is, once I can see that bounce rate, of course, refers to how quickly, the degree at which people leave your website. This is something that I can relate to. If you can say, I was able to reduce marketing costs by 5%. That's an interesting metric. So metrics are very, very, very important. You need to be able to show that, demonstrate that on your portfolio as well. If you say I was able to reduce marketing costs by 5% or by 10% or by 15%, by 20%, now that's an interesting catch. The employer or the recruiter will say, okay, I think this is somebody I would like to have on my team, or at least I would like to speak with this person. Because bottom line, every company is looking at how to improve efficiency, make more money, and reduce cost. So whatever it is that you're doing with data, you should be able to apply should be applicable and should be solving these problems. So that's how you build your career portfolio. Put matrices, ensure it contains matrices that demonstrates the value that you've brought to your previous companies, and the value that you can also bring. Now, how do you find opportunities? It can be difficult sometimes. I'm going to be honest with you. It can be difficult finding opportunities, especially in the Nigerian space and in Africa. Although things are actually opening up now, people are becoming, businesses and business owners are becoming increasingly aware of the value and the importance of a data expert on their team. So it's definitely getting better, but it can still be quite challenging. I think that one of the one way you can find opportunities is, always speaking to people about what you're looking out for. People have actually been very proactive. Send me messages on LinkedIn. Unfortunately, some of them, for a lot of them, I'm not in that position to take them in, but they have interesting CVs, not necessarily even their CV, only their email and their cover letter. It's interesting, and for me, I have it at the back of my mind already. So I'm like, okay, whenever there's an opening, I'm definitely going to want to reach out to this person, reach out to this guy, because he has shown me what he has or what is capable of delivering. So that's one way you can find opportunities. Network with people. Networking with people is very, very important. I got my job in Terragon by networking with people. In fact, because I I just returned from the UK, so I didn't see opening, I didn't see anything. Because I didn't even have an account, right, with any recruitment company and all that. I didn't even know which companies in Nigeria. And it was one of my major fears, to be honest, when I was coming back. I was like, I don't know where Nigeria is in the data space, right? Where do I even start to begin to look for jobs? But I joined communities like AI Saturday, Pi Data, I joined those communities, and when I met with one or two people, they're like, oh, there's this gig. Oh, Terragon is looking for, I said, who is Terragon? What are they doing? And it was also there. Someone even also told me about Octave, right? And that's how I joined Octave. I reached out to Blessing, just straight up, like the CEO of Octave. I went on, I think it was on LinkedIn. Yeah, I think it was on LinkedIn. I found him on LinkedIn. I sent him an email. I got his email address. I sent him an email, sent my CV, and he replied. Before you know it, we had an interview, and bam, that's how I joined. And it was like, you're a big woman, or you have a master's. I don't think I can, I might not be able to pay you the what you deserve, but I didn't mind, because I needed to build that experience, right? So I joined in with whatever pay, because for me at that time, the pay wasn't even what was like important for me. I joined in at that time, and I built experience, and that experience I built also helped me land, the gig I landed with Terragon. So networking is very, very important, especially in this space. And the good thing is that when you're in the tech space, like tech people are sharing people. They don't hoard information, they don't hoard gigs. Same people that are looking for that role, that are applying for the role, they are the same people that will still tell you, okay, come and apply, So that's the interesting thing about the tech community, and one of the things I love about the tech community. So be open to networking with people, going for networking events. I know we are in interesting times now with pandemic and all, but I know that a lot of them are also holding their gigs online. Some people have joined our company because they met with us at a Data Science Nigeria conference, or Pi Data, or AWS conference, and before you know it, they are working with Terragon. Like, oh, hey, we met the other day, So networking is very important, especially in this space that we are in. Yeah, I think that's basically how I know to find opportunities. Yeah, I think that's basically about all from me. I'm open to taking more questions. Yep. Thank you. Let me stop sharing.
Thank you very much, SLM. That person did enjoy the session. So like SLM said, you can connect to that on LinkedIn, and hope you found the session informative enough and educative, because I did. Thank you so much, SLM. All right, so does anybody have any other questions or anything you like SLM to go over? Okay. Looks like everybody's good. Thank you very much,
Esemeje. Or you can call me.
Thank you so much, Ese. Yes, we really enjoyed the session. And sorry about earlier with trying to join the call. So it's appeared that the mail I shared, I linked the what's it called, the Zoom ID twice. So that's why it was not going through.
Okay, that's fine. I'm glad we've all had an interesting time, because I have. To be honest, I haven't actually done a job of coding in a long time, because when you get to that managerial level, you get to do more of meetings and conversations, and you're speaking with clients, you're speaking with C-level guys. So I basically just have to oversee what my guys are doing. So it was actually interesting to get my hands dirty again, and be involved in the real coding stuff. So yeah, I had a great time, and I'm very open to helping young people or people who are upcoming in this space to get to where they want to. So feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can share my email address with them as well. And I keep my ears to the ground. If there are any opportunities, I'll definitely hook you guys up if I can.
Thank you so much, Ese. That'll be so nice. Thank you very much. I'll share the email with everyone so they can reach out to you. Thank you. We really enjoyed the session, and we're glad that you also had fun while sharing knowledge with everyone. Yes. Thank you, and enjoy your day. Thank you, everybody, for joining the call.
Bye,
yes.
y'all. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks.